Hello and welcome to another edition of Conspirator Brock's Pull List. This is my pull list for the week of January 13th, 2016. Was not able to record last night due to just being busy when I got home, all that wonderful stuff. I did get the blog posting somewhat together, so once I get this finished, it should all come all up nicely. Sorry again for the delay, but thanks again for watching and checking me out. So let's get right into it. First up on my pull list is Batman and Robin Eternal number 15. Still haven't gotten 14 issues of this read, so I have another issue to tack on there. Hopefully I'll be able to get caught up with it soon. I did get caught up with my read list this past week, so hopefully I can plow through the new read stuff and get into the 2 short boxes of my pull list stuff that I need to read. Next up we have Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 2 of 6. Have not actually read number 1. People seem to love Turtles and love Batman, so I think it's an interesting combination, so I'm curious to see where it goes. Next up we have Catwoman number 48. A little behind on Catwoman, but I've been enjoying it so far. Looks like there's a new creative team, so we'll see how that goes. Next up is Constantine number 8. I'm still a little behind on Constantine, but I've enjoyed it so far, so we will see if I keep getting that one, but I've enjoyed it so far. Next up is Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen's Descender number 9. I've read about 5 or 6 issues of this. Enjoy it, so I'm looking forward to getting caught up with Descender. It's a really, really good book. Toby likes it a lot, and so do I. Next up is Earth 2 Society number 8. A little bit behind on Earth 2 Society. It hasn't been as good as the Earth 2 book that was originally out, but, you know, things can't always be as good as something before. But it's enjoyable, so I keep going with it. Next up is Ninjax number 11. A little bit behind on Ninjax, but I've enjoyed it, or Ninjak. I've enjoyed it. It's a really, really solid read from Valiant, so if you like ninjas, spies, and all that shit, and espionage, get Ninjax. Or Ninjak. Next up we have the end of the Robin War. Robin War number 2. The Robin War's been okay. I'm curious to see how it ends. It's a short-lived thing, but it's at least been decent. So overall, I've been happy with it. I've read a couple of the tie-ins, and they've been okay. Some of them I skipped a few of them because I was just not interested in that part of the story. So next up is a book that was been delayed since, for us, we were shorted our entire shipment back on the 23rd of December, and we finally got them back in the end of last week, so I finally picked up my copy, and that's Saga number 32. Really, really sucks when a big selling title like this our entire thing gets shorted, because people end up going somewhere else to find it if they can't find it through us. Our subscribers don't really mind so much because the books just come in, they buy them, so on and so forth. But it really hurts a business when you don't have a book on release day. So yeah, so that sucks. Thanks, Diamond, for doing that. Next up we have Starfire number 8, and apparently Grayson is going to get on with Starfire again. They've apparently had a prior relationship in the New 52, but we'll see how that pans out. Next up is the new Suicide Squad number 16. For the most part, the new Suicide Squad's been okay. It hasn't been great. It's not as good as the Adam Glass stuff that came out with the New 52, but it's been enjoyable enough that I've been continuing reading it. And it's Suicide Squad. It's cool. Some variant covers this week from DC. It's adult coloring book variant month. So I picked them up because my fiance has gotten into the adult coloring stuff. She has a ton of adult coloring books. It's quite ridiculous, but hey, it's what she likes, so it's all good. So I've opted to get the comic book cover, so maybe I can participate with it. But Batman and Superman number 28 this week has an adult coloring book variant. Looks pretty interesting. Some of these just, man, the amount of space you have to color is ridiculous. I'm like, I don't know if I'm able to do this, so, but I'll give it a shot, and maybe I'll show you what the results are. Hopefully it doesn't look like a 5-year-old's coloring thing. Next up we have Red Hood and Arsenal number 8, had an adult coloring book variant. And then we have the wonderful Starfire number 8, had an adult coloring book variant. So yeah, very detailed on that one. We were shorted last week one of our adult coloring books variants, and so I picked it up, and then I saw it and I was like, holy crap, how am I supposed to color on this thing? But it was the Detective Comics number 48. had an adult coloring book variant. That is some intricate fucking detail on that, and I have no idea how I'm gonna color that bastard, but we'll see. Big book that came out this week that I's not on my pull list and not on my read list because I read it in trade, is the wonderful Walking Dead 150. There are 5 variant covers, base variant covers. There's probably more, but I picked up the core 5 for Walking Dead. I did this for Walking Dead 100. I got the set of the core variants there. So Walking Dead 150, the regular cover, pretty bitchin' looking, just 150, tons of blood, all that wonderful stuff. Then they had the homage cover, which is to issue 1, which is always awesome to check out. Then Otley did a cover that's just intense and gory, that's totally awesome. And then they did a wonderful blank cover. So for those of you who like to get artists to do commission drawings on blank covers, Walking Dead 150 came with a blank cover. And then probably one of the shittiest covers for Walking Dead, and not to say like I don't like the artist, but it just didn't work for me, but I still picked it up, was the Michonne cutting a zombie's head off for this one. Yeah, not the biggest fan of that one. So yeah, so that's my pull list, my variants, all that wonderful stuff. Again, my pull list is the stuff I get, I buy, I bring home, goes in my collection, blah, 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 all that wonderful stuff. So there's a decent amount of books. Smallish week kind of for me. I think there was only like 11 books there. But yeah. All right, now on to the read list. These are the titles that I read to stay current, caught up, all that wonderful stuff. First up is a book that I really don't want to read, but it's a #1 from Marvel, so I'm going to check it out so I can at least have an opinion. And that's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. #1. Yeah, no excitement. Next up is All New Wolverine #4, teaming up with Doctor Strange. Everyone seems to be teaming up with Doctor Strange lately. Maybe that's because there's a Doctor Strange movie coming out. It's been okay. All New Wolverine. It's alright. I mean, it should just be called X-23. But, you know, who knows. All New X-Men #3 comes out this week. I'm not the biggest fan of this. I will give this issue a try and see if it keeps my interest. But for now, or right now, I'm pretty much probably going to drop All New X-Men. It's not good. So, next up we have Avengers #3 by Mark Waid with art by Kubrick. And the Alex Ross covers are horrid on this. Not the best book. Issues 1 and 2 did not really entice me. I'm going to check out 3 to see if I'm going to keep going with it, but I highly doubt it. Avengers has not been hitting the mark for me lately, and I love Wade, but I'm not the biggest fan of Avengers right now. So next up is just a fun book, Back to the Future #4, just random tales in the Back to the Future universe. Just fun stuff. If you're a Back to the Future fan, I highly recommend them. They're just really cool reads, kind of seeing these little side stories in the universe of Marty and Doc. Next up is Extraordinary X-Men #5. Surprisingly enough, I've enjoyed Extraordinary X-Men #5. It's not horrid. It's fairly decent, and you know, the art, Herbert Ramos' art works for it. So I'm gonna keep going with that one for a little while until I get burnt out on it. Next up is a new #1 from DC from miniseries Green Lantern Corps Edge of Oblivion #1 of 6. Green Lantern Corps has been just jettisoned or whatever, transported to a universe that has died, but they've been transported back in time to before it dies, and they're stuck there. So yeah, we're going to see, hopefully they can get back to the regular universe. Next up is Guardians of the Galaxy #4. First few issues have been okay. Still going on with it. I like Guardians. Hasn't been the best. Abbott and Lanning's is still the best Guardians stuff. So if you were curious about reading Guardians, read the Abbott and Lanning stuff. There is an omnibus coming out, I believe, in May of it, and I'm totally super stoked for it. Next up is Hawkeye #3. Just a continuation from the previous Hawkeye. It was good stuff, so I'm going to keep going with it. Next up is Mark Millar. Huck #3. The first 2 issues were okay, so I'm going to go stick with it and see how well issue #3 does. I'm not a biggest fan of Mark Millar, but sometimes his stories are okay. Next up is Invincible Iron Man #5. Yeah, we're already on issue 5 for Invincible Iron Man. We'll see what goes on with that. It's been good. I've been enjoying it. Bendis does a really good job, in my opinion, on single character titles. Team books, he kind of doesn't do it for me. It's just too many. Everybody sounds the same. There's no real difference between the characters. You could swap dialogue and no one would notice. Next up is the Mighty Thor #3. Jason Aaron's been killing it on Thor in the previous run and still doing it with this relaunch. Highly recommend that. Next up, Peter Milligan's Vertigo title, New Romancer. This is issue 2. The first issue I checked out was pretty cool, so I'm going to check out issue 2, see if it keeps my interest. If it does, I'll keep reading it. Next up is Red Wolf #2. The first issue was okay, not the best. I'm going to see how well they pull off issue 2. If issue 2 is any better, then I'll keep going with it. Otherwise, it's going to be canceled soon, but fairly decent title. Next up, we have Scarlet Witch #2. Robinson did a great job on the first issue, so I'm really stoked to see how this plays out in or for the rest of the series, or his run at least. But Scarlet Witch #2. And finally, the last book this week that I'm picking up to read, and I think a lot of people are picking up and saying finally as well, is Secret Wars #9 of 9. Yes, this is the last issue of Secret Wars. We are finally getting the end of what was supposed to end months ago. Ryan read it and Charlie read it, and they say that it turns it around. It ends really well. You can kind of forget issues 6, 7, and 8, possibly 5. I think when Doctor Strange dies, you can just skip the rest of it and go straight to this. So I'm looking forward to it, especially with their reviews on how good it's been. So yeah. So again, thank you for watching. You can follow me on Twitter. My handle's @BrockSager. Remember, if you like this video and you want me to do more of them, please leave comments down in the comments window below. I do appreciate it when people say keep it going, keep them up, all that wonderful stuff. I'm trying to get time to sit down to do my Portland comic shop tour part D, where I went to 5 shops when I was in Portland. I have a couple pictures that I need to try and get posted and just give a general summary of the places that I visited while I was in Portland right before the new year. So hopefully I'll get a chance to sit down and do that within the next week. I always cross my fingers. I got a couple other things I want to put out hopefully soon. I got a couple unboxing videos of statues. I have a backlog of statues I need to open up, show you guys so you can check them out. I'm currently reading, if you can't tell, the Star Wars Aftermath book that's in the background. I watched Star Wars and enjoyed it, so I'm diving into the novels to see how good they are in this new canon. So far, I've been enjoying it. I'm about a little over 100 pages in, so we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, so again, thank you for watching. You can listen to me on the Comic Conspiracy podcast, which we recorded last night, episode 243. We talk about my Portland trip a little bit, and also we go over Jim Jokish's top list for comic books from 2015. So yeah, and you can also support me and my fellow conspirators through Patreon. If you go to www.patreon.com/comicconspiracy, you can, for as little as $1 a month, you can help us out with hosting and all that wonderful stuff. If you hear my kids in the background, they're supposed to be sleeping, so I'm a little agitated. But yeah, for as little as $1 a month, you can help us out with hosting, getting some food, all that wonderful stuff. We do appreciate all our Patreon backers. Thank you very much, you guys, for helping us out with that. So I need to go take care of my kids because they're not behaving. So fatherhood, yeah. All right, see you next week.